Good morning, y'all. Marlene, stitching by the lake. Actually, I'm not stitching by the lake today. I'm stitching by the front yard. Actually, I'm not even stitching. Anyway, back in my sewing room, I decided I would come by and try to do a quick video because, well, for several reasons. I'm going to be out of pocket for the next week or two. I'm pretty excited that I'm going up to Branson. My husband and I are going to go. And on Friday, I'm going to have the opportunity to do a stitch day with Donna and Shauna from Stitching and Doodah. And I'm thrilled to be doing that. I'm looking forward to seeing them and stitching by Shauna's lake. I don't know who else is going to be there. I know Kay Dunlap is coming from Kansas City, and I'll get to see her, and so I'm excited about that too. The other reason I decided I'd go ahead and make a video is because my husband is gone right now. He told me yesterday that he had a doctor's appointment today, which I did not know about. Usually I try to keep up with those things. He's going in for a blood pressure check. Apparently his blood pressure was higher than it should have been at his last visit. It's not unusual for it to be higher than it should be, but because he's having to go back this time, that tells me it was higher than it should have been. I told him when he got ready to leave that this time when he got home, I wanted him to remember what his blood pressure was so that he could tell me. And he just looked over his shoulder at me and said, "It might be a secret." And I said, "It might not be a secret because I know your nurse's name." Anyway, such is life when you're living in this slow lane at our age. I'm 72, as y'all know, and actually I'm almost 73. I'll be 73 in 2 more months, and he is 74. So we've slowed down a bit, for sure. That's okay. We kind of like it in the slower parts, but sometimes it's not easy. Blood pressure being one of those. We're so the opposite sometimes. His internal thermostat was messed up when he had chemo, so he is hot all of the time, and I am cold all of the time. His blood pressure is very high. My blood pressure at my last visit with the cardiologist, who dismissed me, by the way, said he didn't need to see me anymore. Mine was 118/67. That's really polar opposites, isn't it? Let's talk about giveaways. I finally got the last address for the 3rd person from my last video's giveaways, and so those are all packaged up, and I'll be going to the post office after lunch. It's actually about 11 o'clock here, and when he gets back, I'll run to town and get those in the mail. And then the last video, I wanted to pass the stash, and it was this pattern. I Bring the Joy. I'm going to have a bad glare, aren't I? It's really hard to see. Let me get closer. There we go. This is the one that I'm passing the stash on. This was a fun one to stitch. It's a Pineberry Lane. And I did the random comment picker, and the winner is Patty, Rocky Mountain Stitcher. So, Miss Patty, would you please send me your mail address? My email address will be down below. I try to always put it in the box down below so that you can contact me privately. So if you would just send me that, I'll get that pattern off to you. I'm going to start off. Let me grab something. Some of you know that I have a friend whose name is Jo. Jo and her husband have been downsizing. They moved from a very large home, I think around 3,000 square feet or something, into independent living, and I believe their cottage is 1,100 or 1,200 square feet or something like that. So I spent some time with Jo and with Carl, her husband, and helped pack up things that they wanted to move and get rid of things they didn't want. They very generously gave me a lot of furniture they weren't taking, which we have now taken over to my brother Terry to replace some of the things he lost in the flood. That was very kind, and we are very grateful for that. And then I've gone over to help her unpack in her sewing room. And obviously, like all of us, she's moved all of her sewing stuff that she could, but she doesn't quite have room for all of it now that she's gotten into a little bit smaller place. So a couple of things she sent home with me, and this is one of them. I have no idea what this pattern is, but it's just the cutest thing ever. Jo hasn't done any counted cross stitching in many, many years. She was a prolific quilter, and now she does a lot of embroidery, mainly red work embroidery. She does beautiful work. But she gave me this. It is on 14 count Aida, and I thought it would be really cute if I put this on the front of like a little sack. I'll make a little sack with handles on it that one of my great-grandchildren could carry some favorite toys or something like that in. So that's my plan for that. Thank you, Jo. I'm grateful to have that. A couple of works in progress that I want to show you. One of these is brand new. Let me find my pattern. Ann Thompson at the Shepherd's Needle in Little Rock, I believe on her second video, showed this pattern and the model that was stitched for it. Birds of a Feather, alphabet sampler. Not a typical alphabet sampler that we are used to seeing, but more a Halloween type one. Maybe it's just me that it reminds of Halloween, but certainly more of a fall piece, a winter piece, and I fell in love with it. I just, on her video, immediately messaged her and said, okay, kit that one up for me. Now, the model did not use the same fabric or threads, either one, I don't think. Let's see, this calls for a 32 count Sparrow. And that is not what I'm using. I'm using 32 count, but it's R&R 18th century Rook. And then I'm using Belsoise silks. This is how far I've gotten on this one. And a little bit different colors than what is called for. Let's see, the pattern calls for Weeks Dye Works. So there you go. These are done in silks. And typically I would do 2 threads over 2. I even messaged Ann and said, what is that model? How's that model done? Because I started out with 2 threads and I didn't like it at all. It was just too clumsy looking. I don't know any other way to describe it. So I took that out and switched to one thread, and I'm much, much happier with that one thread. I think it shows up exactly like I want it to on this piece. And the other thing, I've worked on 2 or 3 little things, but the other thing that I have been working on as much as I can is my Big Toe Designs Books of the Bible. And I showed it to you last time, but this is where I am now. I did not take it off the frame last time for you to see. I had gotten up through from Genesis through Acts, and I have done this much of the top border since my last video. These are done with silks as well. Only 3 colors. I've told you those colors before, I think, but if you are interested, you can let me know, and I'll be glad to look at those for you, because I can't remember them off the top of my head. I'm barely remembering the top of my head. This is where I am on Books of the Bible. Isn't that beautiful? I'm really anxious to get this one finished. I'm going to have it framed and put it over my bed. And one of my daughters has already laid claim to it. You know how that happens. That's a someday thing. Someday, she said. Yeah, I know how that goes. All right. I made a couple of other purchases besides that. I bought this pattern from the Drawn Thread. I think I'm stuck on Halloween right now. Bats in the Belfry. I don't have this one kitted up, but it's going to be an easy one to kit because I have plenty of neutral fabrics. And it calls for some silks, but I don't think I'll do it in silks. I think I'll probably go with DMC for this one. Anyway, love that. And then I bought the Just Cross Stitch Halloween edition, and I love it. I think it's got, y'all, this is the best bargain ever. You don't have to like every pattern in here, but this magazine sells for, let's see, $10 in the USA, $11 in Canada, $10, and there are 60 patterns in here. So if you only like 2 or 3 of them, then it's cheaper than other patterns that we typically pay $10 or $12 or more for. There were several that I really, really liked. Let's see if I can find one in particular for you. Oh, I don't know. Here, this one. Look at him. Look at this ghost. Is that not the cutest little face? I think he's just adorable. And it says Ghost Party. That's what's on his little sign, Ghost Party. I have a piece of black, maybe Ada. I'm not sure what it is right now since I'm not looking at it, but I have something black that I can put that on. And then I also have been working on Diana Kismet stitch on her little free pattern that I mentioned that last time, I think. It's You I Like. I found this purple. I don't know what this fabric is. Oh, yes I do. It's got a tag on it. Picture this plus 18 count shale. And I'm going to stitch several of these to send to friends. Or maybe somebody that's not a friend that needs a little lift, if I know about somebody like that. Okay, I've also done some finishing. I told y'all I wanted that I wanted to work on some finishing this week, and I did. My black cat, and I've started a second one of these. I showed you this last time. Stitched, but not finished. This is my Black Cat 310. That was a free pattern that I got at StitchCon. And I was going through my drawers looking for something that I'd stuck back to put it on and found this. There was a picture under here, of course. And this I got at Hobby Lobby after Halloween. So it was probably 50 cents or $1 or something like that. And I just put it on a piece of mat board. And I'm not sure. I don't think I laced it. I may have just taped it. I don't remember what I did. And then I glued this little narrow rickrack on, which wasn't easy, y'all, because it's so tiny. And it's going to sit up just like this. And isn't that cute? I thought it was adorable. That's a gift for my sister, so that's going in the box of stuff that goes to her house. The next FFO I have is Theresa Kovetz pattern. For You is the name of this one. I finished it into a pillow. Put a little bow at the top with a button. I used red and white ticking on the back for this. I started to do cording, and then I thought, I don't really think it needs that. Because I just thought it would be too much. I couldn't come up with a picture in my head that fit for that. The little angel that I had finished last time, I just did as a flat fold. I used white rickrack. It's on mat board with the gingham on the back, big gingham. That will sit in an easel at Christmas. The bee thought I had that pattern in here, but I want to do it a second time, so it's probably in my start box. This is it looks like one of those antique jar lids, but it's not. I bought it at the Shepherd's Needle, and I stuffed it with a polyfill and laced this part onto it, and then, well, I also put a piece of mat board behind it, and then put it down in here to make a pincushion. And this is a little, whoops, he's coming out a little bit. It's a piece of ribbon. It's actually paper that I found at the Dollar Tree with the Christmas ribbons and stuff. That also is a gift for my sister. I showed you the Remember Me pattern. I do not have a clue what the color of this thread is. It's a Presencia thread that I've had for a very long time. Variegated thread that I thought was really pretty. And I had this fabric that just went beautifully with it. And I added buttons at the bottom. And then my last fully finished is a little house pattern. I showed this to you last time. Stars and Stripes. And I've had this frame waiting in the wings. So I laced this onto mat board and put it on this frame. This will hang. In my dining room, I don't really have a color in there or a theme other than I have a few patriotic things that stay in there all the time, not holiday kinds of times. So this is going to go in there somewhere. I'm not quite sure where because I don't have a whole lot of wall space in there. It's a big open room with my living area. But then that frame I think is just perfect for this, even though it's a little bit more ornate than I had anticipated using with this particular piece. I think it worked. Now, I want y'all to know it is not easy to lace a piece and that's got this kind of a border and have it come out looking like it's straight. This is not straight, but it's close. I worked a very long time on it. And if you look at it from back there, which was what people will be doing, it's fine. If you get up really close, you can see that it's not exactly perfect, but it's good. It's good for me. I don't need things to be exactly perfect. Let's see. That's really, I have one other thing I want to talk about. I don't think I have anything else to show. Nope, that's all that's in my basket. I want to go back and revisit StitchCon for a minute and explain something. In my last video, I did not do any one-on-one personal thank yous. I kind of glossed over that. I said I had a lot. I didn't want to miss anybody, and all of that is true. Probably not my best move, but because someone's feelings were hurt, someone was disappointed that I didn't do that. And so I want to say a couple of things. Those of us who make, I hope I don't get emotional about this. I don't think I will. Those of us who make videos, and I think I can speak pretty universally for almost everybody, we are typically blown away by the response. I make these videos because, and I've said this multiple times, I want to leave a legacy for my children. I miss my mother desperately. And there it goes, the emotional part. I miss her face, I miss her voice. And so I want my children to someday be able to come back and look at these as a comfort. I think it would comfort me if I had something like this of my mother's that talked about where she talked about her daily life and things she was doing and things she loved and that sort of thing. My girls occasionally watch one of my videos. Certainly not every video. My son has probably never seen one of these. And I don't imagine he will until after I'm gone, because that's just, I think that's the way we do. We think our parents are going to be around forever. Anyway, to say, I have almost 4,000 followers, y'all. I'm like 15 or 16 away or something. What are you people thinking? I don't know. I don't know where you came from or why you're here. Well, it's sort of, I know why you're here. You're here because of the same reason that I watch other people. I want to see more cross stitch, and I want to see what people are doing. And I'm fascinated by how you make your choices and the colors that you pick, and I love every bit of that. But I'm just an everyday kind of person. Just a normal Southern woman doing what women do, you know, keeping house and leading a Bible study every once in a while and taking care of family. So when I go to retreats, I'm a bit of an introvert, and I find that a lot of Flosstubers are a little on the shy side. So when I go to an event like StitchCon, it is overwhelming at the people who know you, people who comment on your videos and who know a lot of things about you, but you don't know anything about them other than you recognize their name. And at my age, I don't always recognize names. I got to face that fact. It's very humbling. I have said multiple times that the number of people who greeted me at StitchCon, the number of people who brought gifts, needle minders, floss cards, the absolute most wonderful coaster that I keep my drink on, Pincushion that I just am fascinated by and love. There were things like that I just kept saying my cup overflows. So because of my shyness and because of how overwhelming that is, I find that difficult to talk about on my videos. But because I find it difficult, it's not an excuse for not acknowledging things that were given to me. I'm not going to try to do that today, y'all. I have to be honest. I'm using just about everything that I received. Pincushion is on the table by my chair. My coaster, little coasters beside my chair. My embroidered needle book is next to my hook. Needle minders are on projects. I treasure those things. And so if I was remiss in thanking you, then please forgive me. And chalk it up to I messed up. I should have done it. In saying all that, there's one that I want to be sure that I show you. In my living room, I have a shelf that it's a glass shelf, and it's clear through from the living room to the sunroom. And on one of those shelves, I have a little apple, like an apple for the teacher kind of thing, that I got, and it's next to something else that's red that I treasure from a friend. And so when I got home, this piece that was given to me, that Patsy made for me, I put immediately right there on that shelf in my living room so that it would be there with other things that I treasured. It is a Bible verse that means a lot to me. It's from Psalms 17:8, and it says, "Keep me as the apple of thine eye." And that is my prayer, that I will be always kept as as an apple in God's eye. So I thought this was one of the sweetest things that anyone could do. So thank you again, Patsy. And so I think that's all that I have for today. I did manage to keep it pretty short. I'm just at 25 minutes. I hope that y'all have a wonderful week, that you, it's hot here, but it's not awful. It's livable. And I hope that your weather is equally as good, and that you get lots of stitching time this week, and that I get to see you again soon. Bye-bye.